Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back once again to the channel and this video. And if you're first time here, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. Don't forget about your notification bell so you know when I post the next video. As you know, YouTube's not going to be nice to me and they're not going to post my videos like they're supposed to. So help the channel out and subscribe and hit that like button would be much appreciated. Today, we're going to probably jump right into some news before we get into graphics card nightmares right here on the channel. I want to take a look at and see how the 9000 series on AMD is progressing, but I can also tell you from what I'm reading about their market share, they've only jumped up 2 points in their market share against Nvidia. Intel I can't tell you about because I don't see them really having any market share at this point because they're not doing much sales. You know how that goes. So let's jump into the action screen and see what's cooking. Now that we made it to the action screen, we've seen a report from TechRadar right here on the channel. It says, well, AMD's Radeon RX 9070 series launch isn't going as smoothly as we thought. And because the retailers have inflated prices. Now, we all know that the prices are basically set upon what the AIB partners sell the GPUs to the retailers. So the retailers have to make their money, so they can't push the blame all on the retailers. It's a group effort. Get over it. It's how it works. So, says AMD's Radeon 9070 and the 9070 XT GPUs prices have been inflated some retailers. This stems from board partners increasing prices after suggested limited time MSRP. It comes after AMD encouraged board partners to stick to MSRP. Don't forget your drink and snacks, by the way. So, while AMD Radeon RX 9070 series GPUs have certainly fared much better than the 5000 series from Nvidia, that doesn't mean that it completely voids any problems. As Team Red's case, it's not missing ROPs or scalpers. Yeah, okay. As reported by WCCF Tech, AMD's board partners have quietly increased the prices of the 9070 series GPUs, reportedly up $130 higher than MSRP, which they've done it a little bit higher than $130. This is the kind of behavior we expected from scalpers, board partner scalpers now. And it seems to be similar to what we've seen Nvidia's GPUs going for, which always seems to have inflated retailer prices even when there's a good amount of stock. Yeah. 200,000 graphics cards worth of stock, as they claim. It comes after AMD stated it would encourage AIB partners to stick to MSRP. Ain't gonna happen. Unless they're under some kind of contract, which, unlike Nvidia, they were supposed to be under a contract. But RDNA 4 GPUs, but that hasn't exactly happened. We all know this, it hasn't really happened at all. Retailers implied that MSRP would be timed, meaning prices for the GPUs after the first batch of sales would hike. We all knew this was coming after the first batch was sold, because that was very plainly put out there in writing. And that has unfortunately come to pass, as WCCF Tech highlights. Sapphire Pulse 9070 XT selling for an erroneous $730, which indeed expands over the $131 above MSRP price at $599. So, get ready to pay, like they say you might like, get ready to pay for $1,360 more on a 5090, which has already been happening with the scalpers. Raise prices yet again with the RTX or the RX 9070. I almost said RTX, but it's getting there slowly. Bad news for gamers is that if you're looking for, and I'm going to go off the cuff with this, if you're looking for a 9070 GPU, you're going to keep on looking because the prices are going to get erroneous over $1,000. Now, if you pay over $600 for a graphics card, that's stupid. So, just bringing that point up because I base my channel upon prices being lower than that $600 mark. And I figured that $600 mark is mid-range. That's the cap I go by, is $600. So if you're going to buy something above $600, do it as your own. That's your choice. But for people that want to save money, this isn't the way to go. Unless you want to wait for like the RX 9060 or the 9060 XT or the 5060 or the 5060 XT, and you might be lucky in the first batch go around that you might get it for between $399 to $599. Same price that the 5070 was supposed to be at, then the same price the 9070 XT and the 9070 was supposed to be at. It looks like that 60 series on both sides of Team Green and Team Red might be reaching close to the 70 series. That's what I've been hearing the word on the street. So scalpers are already got their fingers dandelion, getting ready to hit up these Amazons and Newegg sites and get ready to torch them and just buy them out so nobody can get their hands on anything. Or they might think about going to Walmart or Best Buy, and they might hit them up too, because it seems that these retailers just don't care who they sell to as long as they get them sold. That's what it seems like. So, while prices may shift in the upcoming days with Team Red directly, they still could impact the goodwill of AMD. Had the biggest strongest amongst built graphics cards for gamers this generation. This new GPU lineup could be good, it could be bad, or it could fare. But it's already out there, so we already see how it already fares in between good, bad, and ugly. So, it may now end up short-lived, especially if current inflated prices remain the same for the foreseeable future. And I've said this many of times, even on the live stream. And the fierce rival Nvidia may still have a bigger issue with stock other than hardware problems. It's not an issue, it's because they're focused on their board partners, their stockholders, board partner stockholders, and focused on the data centers more than they're focused on the gamers right now. So basically, their silicon is basically going towards the data centers to where they can sell it for billions of dollars and make billions of dollars other than making $1,000 on a graphics card for the gamers. Just my opinion. Maybe because it's got that 12 volt high power connector that they can't seem to get a grasp on and change it to something that works. Like maybe 8 gauge connectors, 8 gauge wiring, which can handle 1200 watts. So they would never have to worry about it catching fire again. But you know what? Like the 5090, they have everything bridged inside of the graphics card down to 2 lanes for the hot and the ground. I'm sure you've seen it before because they got the bridging technique built inside onto the connector to go down to 2 lanes. I call them 2 lanes, it's hot and ground, but they have it bridged inside on the Nvidia, the graphics card side of the connector, not the one you plug in, because that's supposed to be separate lines. But for some reason, 6 lines can't handle 60 amps or 65 amps, because that's its maximum range is 65 amps. And some of these graphics cards are reporting to get up to like 67, 68 amps for a 5090. So who knows how that's going to fare. But as far as MSRP prices, everybody says they're fake and everything else. I'm just going to say like this, and I'm going to come down to the fact to you. When it comes down to MSRP prices, originally, a lot of people don't talk about this. MSRP price was set as a minimal range for the AIB partners that they can sell their graphics cards at. So basically, like Nvidia and AMD, Intel, when they give out their chips, they say, okay, well, this is the MSRP we want this sold at. You can't go below that. So this tells the AIB partners that's the minimum range. But when it comes to the maximum range, that's up to the AIB partners to make that decision. And obviously, this generation, they made a big decision to take and roast every one of the gamers that buy the graphics cards. Because for the past years, that they've been feel like they're kind of restricted. I mean, you got to understand why EVGA got out of the business. And this is one reason they got out of the business is because of the price cap. Okay, Nvidia was doing that for years, putting a price cap on everything. So when they go to sell their cards, they have a price cap on it, and they would go from there. Some people would disagree with me about that, but check the reports out. There's been many reports over the years of Nvidia doing that, and especially AMD doing the same. So you can take my word with gold, or you can take it with a grain of salt. Take it as you wish. But as far as my knowledge on it right now, over the period of years, that's what I've seen. Because if you go back through the price tracking from the 90s to today, Nvidia has kept the market share in between 80 and 90% from the 90s to today. So AMD's only been catching between 10 and 20% of the market share. So, and basically Intel has only been carrying about 1 to 5%, depending on the graphics cards they sell, could increase or decrease the market share. But for 2025, it seems that AMD's gained 2% on their market share with the 90 series graphics cards. And also, too, there was a rumor going around that Lisa Su was supposed to have said that AMD has sold over 200,000 graphics cards. That's just a rumor. Take that with a grain of salt, and it wasn't 200,000. There's no mention of how many graphics cards were sold on this launch. It's just rumors right now. So until AMD gives us a projection, or somebody finds a projection out there of how many graphics cards they sold, for right now, all you can say is that retailers had the option under the first launch of 2000 graphics cards apiece. That's between the 9070 XT and the 9070. So, going by their first launch, you can say that some retailers got their hands on between 1,000 and 2,000. Some didn't even get up to 1,000. They got like 750. So believe it or not, it's not as big as you guys thought it was, because there's many reports out there stating this. Some retailers that I know that are claiming they didn't get 2,000 graphics cards. They got a split down the middle between the 9070 and the 9070 XT was only like 350 per card. 350 cards, like 350 9070s and 350 9070 XTs. That's all they got. So I tend to believe what they're saying because I've known them for years. So, but as far as the rest of the retailers, I'm unsure. It seems like that Micro Center was the one that got the most graphics cards of the launch. So most of your e-tailers like Amazon, Newegg, and all them, they got a certain amount. We don't know how much, because they're always sold out, so we don't know. Let's get back to the story. Okay, this says this is probably the worst GPU market situation I've ever seen. Right here. So that's what they say. But we got to move back up a little bit so we can get the rest of this story here. Let's start here. While the prices shift may not be coming from Team Red directly, they can still impact the goodwill of AMD has built amongst PC gamers during the new GPU lineup. This may now end up short-lived, especially if the current inflated prices remain foreseeable in the future. I know I'm going back over this again. The fierce rival of Nvidia may still have bigger issue with the stock and other hardware problems, but that still doesn't mean the price issue with RDNA 4 GPUs should be ignored. Now we're down to this part. I've lived through fair enough amount of GPU generations where the prices were reasonable across the board. So have I. I've been doing this 36 plus years. And without issue as significant as the ones we're seeing at this moment, today, the present. So I can say without a doubt, this is the worst GPU market I've seen. And I can agree with that, because it is. Because obviously it comes down to the point that the scalpers are now, the AIB scalpers, are doing the same thing as the scalpers. So between AIB partners launching their stuff to the retailers on Amazon, Newegg, and so on, the only one that's not really getting scalped would be Micro Center. But with them turning up the prices, because the AIB partner, when the AIB partner sells a card to the retailers, they have to mark it up at least to $50 or $100, because they have to make, for the marketing cost and the whole 900 yards. Their employees, the power that supplies their building, the water, and so on. They have to pay all that. So they have to mark it up in order to meet that demand. Where the retailers at this point are only making between 10 and 15% off of every graphics card. They're not even, some of them are not even making between 3 and 5%. They're not really making that much after their overhead and everything else. So it's already difficult enough to convince console gamers to move over to PC due to the ridiculous price and the price of inflation of Team Green and Team Red and Team Blue. This is at such a ridiculous level. While the price hike on the Radeon 9070 series is still absurd, inflation on the 5000 series GPUs is the worst I've ever come across. Yet today. If you even manage to find a 5090 or 5080 at MSRP, if what you ever find one alone available at all, then you'll need to be ready to dig deep into your pockets, and same goes for the 5070 and the 5070 Ti cards. So, let's dig down to the bottom of this. You might think about opting for an RTX 40 series GPU instead, but the same issue is present there. They jacked up the prices once they announced the prices for the 50 series. So the 40 series prices went up. Now, for my 4070 that I got, it went up $180 to almost $200 more than the MSRP. So I do tend to agree with this. Most Ada Lovelace GPUs are either out of stock, which that's due to being discontinued by Nvidia, but the remaining ones in stock are selling above MSRP as well. Ultimately, gamers have no choice but to pay up, especially as we seem to be seeing increasing numbers of poorly optimized PC games and requiring high-end GPUs for an acceptable level of performance. If this pattern continues, it will add to the list of reasons why PC gaming is seen to be not worth your time or your choice, and especially your money. While everybody's going to start moving back to console gaming for the reason of the price. Now, console gamers are only paying between $600 and $700. But they got to look at the fact that they're paying between $40 and $60 per game. So when you meet the costs between the effect, you're actually going to be paying more than you are less. Because if you figured like this, and I'm going to get the calculator out and I'm going to show you guys really quick. If you look at the fact of this, if you pay $700 for a gaming PC, a console, and you get 10 games, right? So we got the $700, so you get 10 games, and they're at between the average of $60 and $70. Let's say 65. So you take 65 and you times that by 10. That's $650. Now you add $700 to that. That's $1,350. That's the same price as a PC, gaming PC. And a mid-grade gaming PC is about the same price. Because I know I can tell you mine is about around that same price. So And mine games very well in AAA games and everything else, so I'm not complaining about it. So if you're paying that much to get a console gaming PC, or a console gaming, you guys know what I mean. But $1,350 just for 10 games. I mean, if you look at it, I can spend this same amount of money right here, okay, on my PC, but I can take and go over to Steam and I can get at least 20 games, 20 to 25 games on my PC that are free. 20 to 20, let's say 25 games, okay? And if we keep the same average, so we'll say $65, and we'll times that by 25. That means now with my PC, I get $1,625 for free, and I add that $1,350 PC. Now my PC is worth almost $3,000 because of all the games. I know that seems crazy, but it is what it is. So you're thinking you're getting a console gaming PC. I'll say PC. I'll call it a PC. Console gaming PC. So basically, it's got a set memory. Okay. It can't do what you want. It can't do content creating. It can't do web surfing like your normal PC would do. It can't check your emails. It can't do many of things. It can only play the games you buy for it. Unless you got a hack code to where you can take and make it do Google. But what's the benefit? It's going to be slow as hell, and there's no benefit to it. So if you're thinking you get a benefit off of a gaming console, you're wrong. You're totally wrong. You get no benefit whatsoever, other than being worried about if a hacker is going to hack into your gaming console and steal all your games. That I've heard somebody mentioned out on the interweb. They call it the interboob, but knowing that and keeping that in mind, you say, well, because your PC can get the same, it can happen the same way. Yeah, it could, but mine's got more security than that console has, believe it or not. That's only got it's only locked. It's not like it can't be unlocked, people. How many times have you watched YouTube and all the unlocking things they did to PlayStations, Xboxes, and so on? They have unlocked it. So don't think that they're totally locked. Don't think your account's not susceptible to being hacked, neither. So keep that in mind. I just wanted you to keep that in mind. But now we're going to go ahead and turn our focus over to graphics card nightmares and see what's cooking. So let's go ahead and go back to the action screen and see what's up. Okay, now we're back on the action screen again. So let's go to Amazon like we always do. I'm not going to focus on the 9070. I'm just going to focus on what's up on the market. So we'll do what we normally do, hit the all button, go down to computers, graphics card for gaming PCs, and see what they got on the front page. Well, that's normal, $99 for that. You notice that they put the 580s right there at top, and the 6600, and look at the 3060. It went up about 40 bucks. So the 7800 XT, and this is the thing, $656.90. Okay, let's get back on the calculator. Okay, I'm going to stop this right here, and I'm going to say this. Back a couple months ago, back in early November, they did have a sale on them, and it lasted quite a while, and it was like $429 for the same damn card. So now they got it at $657, so we say $657, and we minus from the $429 sale they had. So they marked it up $228. $228 it marked up. I don't think so. I'm not going to pay an extra 200 bucks. And that 200 bucks, I could have focused it on a different part from my PC to make it even more improved and better. Why would I pay that extra money? It's not worth it. Look at this right here, 4060 Ti. And this is the 8 gigabyte version for $555. $55 over the MSRP of the 4060 Ti 16 gigabyte. Come on, that's ridiculous. 3050, 6 gigabytes at 200 bucks. Why would I do that when I can get an RX 6600 for the same price and get better performance? Or I can go up an extra 25, 30 bucks and get a 6650 XT. 3060, they're selling it for $390. 3050, 4060. They're putting all the lowball cards out. These are all the lowball cards. And you got a 2060. Let's see, 3050. Oh, we got a 5080 for $1,860. Only 2 left in stock. You noticed how they put that only 2 left in stock? They only had 2 in stock in the first place. They put only 2 left because that's what they claimed. But then they'll get onto another account and then they'll put another 2 left. So that way it tricks the consumer to buy this. To make the consumer think, oh my God, this is the only one that's left. Oh my God, I gotta go for it. Don't. That's a nightmare. This right here is a total freaking nightmare. Just letting you guys know this. Don't get tricked into that. Like here, 1 left stock. That's obvious. I mean, come on. I mean, it's obvious to see what's going on. So you're telling me that a gigabyte and the difference between this right here, Asus card, which I know get marked up higher, and look at the price between the two. You're telling me they only having like a $30 price difference in between a gigabyte and an Asus? That's never going to happen. It's just ridiculous. $300 for 7600. That's only this card right here. You can get a B580 for MSRP for 250 bucks. Now they're marking this up to 300 bucks for the 7600, which only has 8 gigabytes of VRAM, which the B580's got 12 gigabytes of VRAM. Which card do you think I would go with? The B580. Just saying. And they got a Vision Tech, Radeon, Vision Tech, 7750, 2 gigabytes. This is 2 gigabytes, people. What says GDR5 and they put a 6. It's not GDR5 and put a 6 there. It's GDR5. 4K monitor graphics card? No. 1080p graphics card. Try again. 6700 XT. $789. It's just ridiculous. I mean, 6700 XT? $789? Really? You're taking a $389 card and marking it up $400? Really? 7600 for $300. 5070 Ti. Look at this. Let's go back to this. $789. Let's go back to $970. I mean, what would you rather get? That's a no-brainer. But why would I be paying $969 for a $750 graphics card? These cards are not, I mean, Nvidia, you need to wake up. You need to start cracking down and get everything under control. Because 5070 Ti for $1,339. Why? Because it's got PCIe 5.0. Yeah, PCIe 5.0, if it works. And that still hasn't been resolved. And that's for both graphics cards. You know, the 5080, $1,700, almost $1,775. 3060, $380. This is encroaching the price that I paid for my 4070. And my 4070 is definitely got more juice than the 3060. So it's just ridiculous. A 5080 GTS, a $75 card, maybe a $10 more, maybe $85 for 140 bucks. 7800 XT, $600. Let's see, CyberPower, 4060, 8 gigabytes. They want you to pay $900 for this with a 13400F. Okay, so you take $375 and then you take 16 gigabytes of DDR5, which is only going to be like 50 bucks. Then you take a 1 terabyte Gen 4 SSD, that's only going to be like 40 bucks. Oh, it comes with Windows 11 Home Edition. Yeah, that really gives you a lot. Knowing that the Home Edition gives you less than the Pro Edition. Nah. Then you got to spend an extra 30 bucks just to get the Pro Edition. Not worth it, people. That's why we do graphics card nightmares, is because we will call out. If the prices are ridiculous, we will call that out. I will call that out. When I say we, I meant me. So, let's go to new egg. Let's see what's cooking. Let's see. Let's get the graphics card menu going. Okay, let's go through this very carefully. 5070 Ti, $980. No different than Amazon. 5070 OC, $740. I mean, it's a no-brainer when you got $599, right? And you minus that from $740. That's $141 that you could have used to either buy a better motherboard, more RAM, or a better SSD. They're actually cutting you at the knees when they do this. When they go above and beyond MSRP, they're cutting you at the knees as the consumer. So, let's keep moving on. Let's see, Yeston, and the 7800 XT, that's Yeston. 3060, 5050, 4060, 7900 XTX was about $840 some. Now they're wanting you to buy, I think I seen, the lowest I seen was $748 for the 7900 XTX. 748 was the lowest number I've seen it ever sold as. So we'll go by the lowest I've ever seen, 749. And we'll minus that from the 1369. 1369. $620. Wow, that can buy you a whole platform when it comes to your PC. You can get a new motherboard, you get a new processor, you can get beefier RAM, you can get a beefier SSD. You could even, I mean, if you stretched it, you probably could even get a beefier power supply. Sure, not spending $620 on it, that's for sure. But you can get a 1,000-watt power supply and you can beef up everything. Let's say you don't need the RAM, let's say you don't need the SSD, and you can just beef up your motherboard and your CPU and get a power supply. So that seems like a better deal than to spend that kind of money on this, just a graphics card, which doesn't give you the rest. Does not give you the rest. So 7800 XT still way too high. 7900 XT is even if you consider it at $1,000, no way. Not when you got a 9070 XT. Well, they're going right now, if you find them, between $800 and $1,200. So, you know, this right here, 5080, out of stock. 5080 out of stock. 7900 XT, limited time offer. $1,000. 6600. See, 3050, 7800 XT. Ridiculous price. 5080, ridiculous, out of stock. 7800 XT. 7900 XT. 7800, 5080. Hey, they're nice enough to show the 50 series. Out of stock. But they're not showing me anything else that would really bug my eyes out, that would really want me to buy something. Look at this. $4,700 for a 4090 Founders Edition. You can build 2 PCs with that. Actually, I could build 3 with that price right there. I could build 3 brand new PCs with that price, including graphics cards. That's just ridiculous. 849, 3060, 6600, 3050s. I'm just gonna say, people, it looks like it's really grim. I mean, really grim. I mean, if you wanted to do that, you can take and build for probably $1,000, you could probably get an B580 and build you a AM5 platform for $1,000, including the case, the motherboard, and the whole 900 yards. We'll talk about that, and we'll explore that on Saturday, this Saturday at noontime on the live stream. And we're just going to take and do an all-right build, AM5 build, and try to see if we can keep it below $1,000. I'm sure we can. It'll take a little bit of finessing, but I'm sure we can. So let's get down to it. What I'm surprised on their first page is they're not showing any 9070s. That's what surprised me. So what we'll do is we'll take and we'll explore the RX 9070, see why. Let's see why it's not showing up. Oh, because it's in what? A pre-built. All pre-builts. Oh, we get one that's not in a pre-built, but it's out of stock. $670. $759, $729, $669, $670, $730. $640, $800, out of stock. 9070, $600, $549 value, out of stock. Out of stock, out of stock. Pre-built, 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 pre-built. Let's go back. Out of stock, out of stock. So Asus had its 9070 and its 9070 XT, which is out of stock. And it's been out of stock. Every time I come to Newegg, it's out of stock. So now that I got that out of my system, let's go to Micro Center. And then we'll end this off with a little bit of scalper action. So stick around for that. We're going to have some scalping action. So let's type in graphics. Parts. And see what comes about. 203 products found. So that means you got 203 graphics cards found. Let's see, 5090, 2700 scalper prices. Well, not yet scalper prices, but it's halfway there. Yeah. It's ridiculous. I'm not blaming Micro Center. I'm not blaming you for this. And I know it's the AIB partners I should be blaming. And I am blaming them, by the way. I mean, it's just plain ridiculous. And I know you guys feel that pain. And I know it's a pain to go through all this. They got, all right, I'll give it to them this way. They got a triple fan 5070 for $549, but you got to buy it in the store. So they got it in the store. It's a prime triple fan for $550. Okay, I'll give Micro Center that. 5070 solid for $700. I won't give that to you. Okay, so you got 5080s, 5070s, 5070 Ti, that should have been $750. 5070 for $600. Let's see, anything of worth of value for the viewers and my subscribers to know. Truthfully, I ain't got nothing for you guys on this. There's only one thing that I've seen so far in Micro Center that has value. That might have value. So, might have value. 5070 Ti Prime, $750. Now I got two things that have value. Two things. So you get a 5070 Ti for $750 at MSRP. Wow. And that's hard to swallow right there, because a lot of people are fighting to find these. Micro Center seems to have it. Not all Micro Centers might have it, but the one that's 6-hour drive from here, yeah, they got it. Let's see. Get Monster Hunter Wilds with the AMD Radeon 70 series. So 7900 XT. What is that, a $60 or $70 game from $719? 20 gigabytes of VRAM? Could be worth it. That'll last you quite a while. Until the next 2 generation upgrades. You know, they got a B580. B580, $250. And you get Assassin's Creed Shadow with the purchase. right here. So that makes it down to $170. Well worth it. Now I got 3 things I can say. 3 things so far. Now I'm not looking at the 570. No. Are they going to come out with something else? Not workstation. Not worried about workstation. Not worried about workstation. No. Not worried about workstation. Let's see. I don't know. It's looking real grim. It looks like they got a 5070 for $550. That's 4 things I've found so far on Micro Center. So that means they'll have a little bit of an ample supply. So that means you'll be able to might get your hands on one. So, something to think about. That is the ugliest card I've ever seen. ASRock, you need to change your colors. Big time. Definitely need to change your colors. Don't look like much more that we can find here that's going to be worth it to y'all. No, doesn't look like it. Does not look like it at all. And I told y'all we're going to get down to the bottom line. And we are down to the bottom line. Now we're going to go to e-waste, eBay waste, eBay. And we're going to see what they got cooking this week on the RX 97. Let's see, 9070, 950, 820, 900, 810, 900. See, 950, $1,000. Scalper usual prices. 759, 850. Close to $900 with the $23.92 delivery charge. Unbelievable. $1,100, $1,100. Ridiculous. Oh, they got this with the 9070 and the 7700 for $1,400. And a $24 delivery charge. Nah, I don't think so. 900,000, 8, 9, 7. You don't see anything that's at MSRP now, do you? That's the whole thing. You don't see nothing at MSRP. That's the point. So, you guys got the idea of what's cooking there? So, to my conclusion. Oh, it's been a fun-filled, pack-full day when it comes to graphics card nightmares. If you want to be ripped off, then deal with the scalpers. If you don't want to be ripped off, don't deal with the scalpers. Even at this point, even if you're 2 hours away from Micro Center, save up a little gas money, get a car that will save you on gas. That'll cost you like $100 going both ways or less. Go to Micro Center, check out their website to make sure they got it first before you go there. Go have a day. Just explore Micro Center and pick out what you want. Just take a whole day and do it. Just say it's a me day and take out that whole day and just go to Micro Center and take a look. And if you can't get to a Micro Center, I understand that, and there's nothing I can do about that. I know the market sucks, and it really sucks. because we know the prices are set in stone when it comes to the AIB partners and it comes to the scalpers. AIB partners are starting to reach that limit of the scalpers. Who's better than the other? Neither one. Because I feel, and AMD has said this, that they should focus on MSRP cards. Cards that make sense. Knowing that they can get these cards made for a cheaper price. Maybe that should be their focus. Maybe if they're too focused on the tariffs and everything else that's going on in the world, maybe they should have focused on getting around that before this happens. Maybe. They could have. Maybe because of January of last year, that when people started stocking up, like big companies stocking up, overstocking their warehouses, like Walmart, stocking all their stock up into the United States since January of last year, till the day of the elections, and they kept stocking up until January the 20th, and after that, they had all that stock for a whole year. And what did they do? What did they do? They turned around and says, oh, we have a shipping problem. We have problems getting this item. So now we got to crank up the MSRP of the item to a higher value, like 4 times what it's worth. You really think it's worth 4 times that value? I don't think so. Because they didn't tell you that they're already stockpiling these cards way before the tariffs went into effect. So they've already had the cards over here in the United States before anything. I know you guys are going to say, Jay, can you prove it? I can prove to the fact that on the news here, they said that the warehouses were stocking up because of the January 5th election, because they didn't know which way it was going. So warehouses were getting stocked up. Excuse me. So now, all that extra stock that they stocked up on, now they're going to charge 4 times the amount it's worth. So now the greed is starting to kick in. And it gets greedier and greedier. Every day you go on and you look at these prices, they're just getting worse and worse and worse. Until the companies start flooding the markets. Like AMD and Nvidia and Intel start over flooding the markets with product. Then the prices will drop down so low because of over flooding. They won't do that. That's not their intentions. To me, right now, I just feel that the 50 series is nothing but a paper launch from Nvidia, and the 9000 series was an okay launch, but in the end, it kind of went south. But that is that. And there's not much more to talk about it. But we can talk about it more on Saturday at noontime during the live stream. If you guys want to feel you want to go there with that as well. And also, too, I want to do on Saturday, I want to do on the live stream, have a look at the pre-builts that are on the market. That's something we haven't done in a long time. So we're going to have our focus on Saturday on the pre-builts. So people that are not interested in building their PCs, that want to know what's going on with the pre-built market, we're going to take and gander through Amazon, Newegg, Micro Center, and maybe we'll pull out Walmart or Best Buy or something like that. We'll definitely have a good 2 hours. I'll put it to you that way. But anyway, this is now the end of the video, and I'm glad you made it to the end. And if you made it to the end, please subscribe and hit the like button. Don't forget to turn that notification bell on so you know when I post the next video. Until the next time, in the next video, you know it is, and we'll see you on the next one.